Would any of you advise a client to defy a federal court order?
No.
None of you would? How about you, Professor?
I mean, under most circumstances, we follow the government and private parties follow court orders. I suppose it's not, I would not rule out ever the possibility that in a sufficiently egregious order, there should be some consideration of whether there's a way.
So in some cases,
I think it's a qualified answer,
in
yes.
some cases you would.
In an extremely narrow band of cases, I think it would be considered, yes.
Okay. Do any of you think that nationwide or universal injunctions are not being abused?
I'm not sure what if I may, Senator, I'm not sure what the time horizon of the question is. I don't think that there could be good faith disagreements about the correctness of some of them, but I have not seen in the last 4 months abuse. No.
I've read your stuff and I've read your writings. I don't want to get bogged down with this, but I have little respect for your opinion because I've read your stuff. When someone is in the White House that you agree with and someone gets a universal injunction against him, you don't like universal injunctions. You called them judges acting like they're politicians in robes and judges looking like crass political actors. But now that President Trump's in the White House, who you dislike, you think that universal injunctions taste like pumpkin pie. So I have to discount what you say because I think you act on your political beliefs. And I worry that that's what you're teaching your kids. So I'll leave you out of that. Do you think nationwide injunctions are being abused?
Certainly, Senator. I think that is.
They're being abused by both sides, aren't they?
Yes, Senator.
Both Republicans and Democrats are forum shopping, aren't they?
Certainly.
Professor, do you disagree with that?
I think both sides are abusing them. I agree.
Okay. Both sides.
Yeah.
There are no clean hands here. Now, your suggestion is that when a federal judge issues a nationwide injunction, there should be an automatic stay and an expedited right of appeal. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Do you disagree with that?
I haven't given enough thought to have a position on it, Senator.
I suspect, Professor, your answer will be it depends on who's president.
No,
Recent Senate hearing, legal scholars and senators sparred over one of the most contentious issues in constitutional law today, nationwide injunctions and judicial overreach. But the debate didn't stop there. Accusations of hypocrisy, disrespect toward the Supreme Court, and a professor's controversial remarks made national headlines. Stay tuned as we break down this intense and revealing exchange segment by segment. The hearing opened with a fundamental question about the rule of law. Would any legal expert recommend defying a federal court order? Most on the panel gave a resounding no. But one professor offered a nuanced response, admitting there could be rare and egregious exceptions. This admission sparked immediate concern, raising questions about the boundaries of judicial compliance and moral conscience. In an extremely narrow band of cases, yes. The discussion escalated quickly to the issue of nationwide injunctions, those powerful judicial orders that apply across the entire country. Both conservative and liberal scholars agreed, these injunctions are being abused by both political sides. Judges are, increasingly seen as political actors, issuing sweeping rulings that shape national policy far beyond their jurisdiction. One senator called out the hypocrisy. When legal scholars agree with the president, they oppose injunctions, but when they oppose a president, they embrace them. What followed was a dramatic and personal confrontation. A legal professor was accused of political bias, allegedly shifting opinions on judicial powers based on which party controls the presidency. Someone even said, "You act on your political beliefs. I worry that's what you're teaching." This wasn't just a...
no, Senator.
Let me ask you about this. What if we had a rule? I was reading an article the other day. I'm not suggesting it, I just want your opinions, that said if a president, any president, issues an executive order, let's say, that clearly violates settled Supreme Court precedent, that a federal judge can't issue a nationwide injunction. For example, if a federal a president issued an order that said no one in America has right to counsel any longer, including but not limited to, in a felony case, having the government pay for your lawyer if you can't afford it. That clearly violates settled Gideon v. Wainwright. In that case, a judge has no authority or does have authority to issue a nationwide injunction. But in a case where the law is unclear, a judge should refrain from that. Now, obviously, we'd have to trust our judges, but we're supposed to be able to trust them anyway. What do you think about that?
I don't agree with that, Senator, because I think universal injunctions transgress the limitations under Article 3, even if the underlying merits are clear.
I happen to agree with you. I don't think there's any basis under Article 3, under Supreme Court precedent, under the English common law for nationwide injunctions. I think politicians have helped judges, and many judges are politicians, to just make it up. And many of them are like Professor Shaw here. If they like the president, they're against nationwide injunctions. If they don't like the president, they're for him. Professor, let me ask you this while I have you. On April 22nd, 2024, you said there are some members of the Supreme Court that are evil. Which justices were you talking about?
I'll take it your word, Senator. I don't recall using that word, but.
All right, here's